What's up, guys? This is Boondocks, and today's another episode of Can They Support? And this time we're going to be looking at Frost. And can he support? You bet your ass. Now, most people know about Frost's supporting abilities as far as defense missions go, which is where you would use something like a Frost build, or the Snow Globe build more specifically, in order to increase your power strength and armor values up to as high a level as possible, while choosing on whatever range you personally enjoy. I like just using one stretch. I know how big my bubbles are, and I kind of enjoy them. As you can see, by using this particular strength and armor build, my snow globes are going to have 16,700 health, which is pretty high. Now, this is really good on lower level missions against level, say, 40 to 60 enemies, because they're not going to be able to pop your bubble right away. Once you start getting into those defense missions that are going on for 60 plus waves and the enemies are spawning at much higher levels, they can burn through your bubble kind of quick. And because of that, you might want to try to go for a more efficiency build to cast it more often, getting the 4-second invulnerability, because any damage that the globe takes during that 4 seconds will be added on as total health, which is something to definitely think about. One quick note about the snow globe that I want to put out there. More experienced Frost players, well, that's not the snow globe at all. More experienced Frost players will know this, but when I was new, I did not. Say you put the globe in an area that's blocking your fire while you're trying to kill enemies on the other side, all you have to do is shoot it with your wand, and it will instantly die. So definitely something to remember. As far as what I like to use for a different type of support style, that's going to be the controlling mage. And for this, unfortunately, you're not going to do any real damage with your power, but on the flip side, you're going to be able to prevent enemies from getting to you or your team. And you're going to do this by increasing your range and duration as much as possible and using the Syndicate mod, Ice Wave Impedance. So this is going to make it so every time you use your Ice Wave, you're going to leave behind a trail. Any enemies on that trail are going to be ridiculously slowed for 12 seconds, and that 12-second timer will be increased with your power strength, with your power duration. Power strength does not actually affect the amount of time that, or how badly the enemies are slowed. So because of that, having only 40 strength doesn't actually affect you. So the whole point of this build is to constantly keep casting your second ability, Ice Wave. And as you can see, by having on as much stretch and or power range as I have, it goes for a considerable distance as well as width. In order to get such a crazy distance, I'm going to use stretch, overextended because I'm not worrying about power strength, and then cutting drift. Just to get that little bit of extra on there. Why not, right? Then, because I am going to be using this more often than not, I'm going to use flow and streamline to try to make it so I can cast it a few more times. And then continuity and constitution to increase the duration of the slow, or the trail that's left behind. Finally, I'm going to use a redirection just because his base shields are so high that it just kind of fits. So, real quick, I'm just going to spawn a big group of enemies and just kind of show how much slower they're going to walk and move and fire. So, all you need to do is cast out your ability, and as you can see, yeah, they're barely attacking me except for the far off guys in the distance. And if you're a sniper player, this will let you line up better headshots and so forth and change your play style up to make it a little bit easier to get those chained crits going. Now, one quick thing to notice, I burned through pretty much all my mana right away, so you're going to want to have something like Xeneric in order to keep that energy flow coming back. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, my Xeneric activations have been acting very off right now. So that's his controlling mage support build. And as far as additional support builds that you can go, there's a very unique one where you try to go for like a balance of everything, both duration, range, and efficiency, as well as having a decent amount of power strength. And what this is going to be focusing on is still doing damage to the enemies, still kind of controlling them, especially with your avalanche. Now, the reason this is really good, when you're going up against Grineer or Void enemies, you're going to strip 72% of their armor. That's obviously going to make them die a whole lot faster. Additionally, you're going to freeze them with each avalanche for almost 11 seconds, which is also very, very nice. So that's the third build that I ever focus on. outside of that, there are a few alternative things you can do. And let's take a quick look at that by just moving the Syndicate mods out away from my camera. So we've already talked about Ice Wave Impedance, which is going to just slow enemies that walk on your trail that you leave behind, but his other two Syndicate mods also kind of focus on supporting. So first you have Chilling Globe. When this is maxed out, any enemy that enters your globe has a 50% chance of getting frozen for 8 seconds. Now, the issue I have with this is power duration is going to affect the amount of time that they're frozen. So if you're going for a pure strength build with your snow globe, then they're going to be frozen for almost no time at all. Whereas if you're going to go for the kind of mixed bag, it might be a little bit better. The issue is they have a 50% chance when they enter. Once they're inside the snow globe, that chance is null and void unless they exit and then re-enter again. And because of that, it's just not as good. And if you're going to be trying to go up against enemies that are going to be swarming you in melee anyway, you're probably going to want to be using a Bastille-focused Vauban. So I kind of usually pass on Chilling Globe, which is why I also haven't leveled it. The last one you can do is Freeze Force. Now, in all honesty, you can kind of stick this almost anywhere you want. Whether you want to just toss it into this build I have here to give an increase of 180% cold damage to whoever you fire it into, with a decent duration as well. When it's maxed, it's going to, or even right now, it's going to last for 28 seconds. So adding on a little bit of extra duration means you don't have to cast it as often, and you'll become a cold buffer. Now, in my personal opinion, cold is a little bit more effective than, say, Ember's heat buff, and that's because cold synergizes on average a little bit better with pretty much everything, as long as you're not going for blast or magnetism. So as long as you're comboing it with toxic, you're going to get that viral effect. If you're comboing it with electric, you're going to, that's how you get the magnetism. So yeah, overall, it's only good if you combo it with Infest or Toxic. And because of that, I kind of shy away from this. If it was electric damage, electric, in my opinion, is probably the best buffer all around. But, oh well, what you gonna do, right? So you could run a buffing Frost, but I tend to either stick with the Control Mage, and this is really good on survival missions, sabotage, or anything where you're going to be moving around a whole lot more. Make sure you do have some form of energy restore. And then finally, we have the standard defense Frost, which is toss up your snow globe and let it ride, baby. And yeah, can Frost support? My final verdict? Absolutely. And beyond that, he can fill multiple different roles as far as support goes, and he's one of the few debuffers in the game. A lot of the times you'll come across support frames that either can debuff very limitedly or will only protect your team very limitedly. He can spec either way, and because of that, Frost is a must-have in my opinion. Pick him up and try him out. So, like, comment, and subscribe, and until next time, peace.